Okay. We are now live on YouTube. Do you have files for these cases? Do you have any files up there? Is the clerk supposed to have any files?
I believe Don was supposed to bring the files from Judge Lillard to your courtroom. If that hasn't occurred, we can help facilitate that tomorrow if she's in.
I don't think it has.
Okay.
There's 4 people. There's a Crystal Mullins, a Crystal Kenny, a Michael David, and a Tina Young. Do you have any files over there on your desk? Oh no, let me just check the JA office just to be sure. No. Let me look over here, Judge. I think you're gonna have to call the case. I have a sheet with all the names on here. Yeah. Yep, I'm ready.
And this is Faith up here.
Well, no, just call the case and then they'll go take it.
Calling case number 16-8297, People State of Michigan versus Crystal Mullins. Attorneys' appearances, please. Can you hear me? Hello.
It looks like the case manager stepped away from her desk. Go ahead and put your appearance on, Phyllis, till she gets back.
I'm not Miss Mullins' attorney. Mr. Wolock is Mr. Mullins.
Oh, I wondered. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Wolock.
Adam Wolock appearing on behalf of Crystal Kenny.
Ms. Jones, would you state your name for the record, please, and your position?
Rita Jones, case manager for Third Circuit Adult Drug Treatment Court.
Okay, so what are we doing on this one?
For Ms. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Wolock,
Yes, Your Honor.
you know where your client is?
Yes, I see her on screen, Judge. My understanding is we're here for review. She got put into a program about 4 weeks ago, and I understand she's doing good.
All right, looks like we now have some files. All right, so with respect to Crystal Mullins, you're indicating she's where?
She is in Share Macomb.
Is she on the call?
Yeah, I see her. I think it's Crystal. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Ms. Jones?
Your
Yeah.
Honor, I believe that is a different client. That is Crystal Kinney, not Crystal Mullins.
That's what I thought. It was my
Right.
understanding that Crystal Kenny was the. Okay, so Crystal Mullins is not on the call, correct?
Correct.
All right. So that's the case we called. We called Crystal Mullins, not Crystal Kenny. So, Mr. Woolak, do you know what Crystal Mullins is?
Your
Aye.
Honor, I apologize. I thought you all called Crystal Kenny. I would represent Crystal Mullins. I thought you said Crystal Kenny.
Correct.
No, she called Crystal Mullins.
I apologize.
Put your name on the record then.
Attorney Phyllis Gayton Robinson with regards to Miss Crystal Mullins.
Okay. Miss Gayton Robinson, do you know where Miss Mullins is?
No, Your Honor, I have not spoken with Miss Mullins since probably the December status conference when we spoke in the breakout room.
Okay. And there's already a warrant out. Is that correct, Ms. Jones?
Yes, that is correct as of December 22nd.
Okay, then that being the case, the record will reflect that the court did call the case, but that Crystal Mullins is still has a warrant out for her arrest. Nothing we can do about that one right now. All right. You can call Crystal Kenny.
Okay, calling case number 18-0328. People of the State of Michigan versus Crystal Kenny. Attorney's appearances, please.
Good afternoon again, Your Honor. Adam Wolak appearing on behalf of Ms. Kenny.
Rita
Good
Jones,
afternoon.
Rita Jones, case manager for Third Circuit Adult Drug Treatment Court.
Ms. Kenny,
Yes.
put your name on the record, please.
Crystal Kenny.
All right, how are you doing, Ms. Kenny?
I'm doing good.
Good. Okay, Ms. Jones?
Yes, Ms. Kenny and I had a wellness check call Friday where it was brought to my attention and Ms. Khalil and I did talk regarding her being non-forthcoming to the facility, stating that the person that she is not supposed to have contact with, that she is continuing to do so, and that she has informed the facility that this is her husband, and it's causing a problem with her going forward in her treatment because she has not been honest. And she has told her counselor that they can't tell her who to love. However, when Judge Lillard did that order, she stated that it was not about who you can love. It's just she was concerned that that relationship while she's on probation would bring her down. And at such time, she has tested positive for cocaine, which is one of the reasons that she is in treatment again. And for whatever it's worth, the same attorney that the person she's not supposed to have contact with is the same person that has the present attorney. She has been having this person come up to the facility to bring her money and cigarettes, and she has had continuous contact with him over the phone, as well as with her children and the custody situation. At this point, we have not received what Chair McComb intends to do regarding her misconduct report.
All right, Mr. Wolak?
Your Honor, I don't know. This gentleman is, the guy's name is Jason Riemann. He recently completed this program, was successfully discharged. He is a long-term boyfriend of hers. He has a relationship with her children. I don't know why he's been deemed to be such a negative impact. And I'm concerned if we tell her not to have contact with him, we're setting her up for failure. She's in love with this guy. Again, they've been together for quite a while and he's involved in her life. I would ask you to modify that to allow some contact with them.
Did I hear earlier that Mr. Wolak, you also represent Mr. Reeman?
I represented Mr. Reeman at a drug court hearing previously, Your Honor.
All right, are you still in contact with Mr. Reeman?
I can be. I'm not, but I can be.
Okay, well, my understanding is that the issue is not her love and clearly she wants to have a relationship with him. But I guess the question is whether being connected with him is causing her not to be able to comply with the program, because there is a court order. And you understand that she has to comply with the court order unless it has been modified. Of course, at this point, it has not been modified. Let me ask this, Ms. Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason that the no contact was put into place, I understand you indicated the court felt that it would cause a problem for Ms. Kinney. Is
Correct.
that simply because Mr. Reeman is also or was the person that went through this program and the court believed that he was still being involved in narcotics and thus Ms. Kinney would then be?
It was because of her drug test results and her non-compliance with JAMS and her non-compliance with the order that was given to her after she finished another residential treatment, which there were allegations that she was in contact with him at that time, and he was still, I believe, on probation at that time. Once she completed the other program, she was instructed to get into intensive outpatient treatment, which she, the facility at the beginning was on the east side, which was too far for her. Then she attempted to get into a facility that was well known, that the male person in question had outpatient treatment. Then she was told that she had to go into outpatient treatment at Naomi's Nest. And finally, after at least 4 or 5 weeks, she was able to get into that. But then she tested positive for cocaine and marijuana, and therefore that was a violation. When she had a hearing on a Friday, I cannot recall the date exactly, but she didn't show up. But we did verify that she was in fact at the hospital and showed us pictures of a black eye and a scraped cheek, where she says that she got the black eye from falling down the steps. And it was at that point that when she was apprehended, that she was sent to the current residential treatment where she is now.
Okay. And so, Mr. Wolak, your response to what Ms. Jones has indicated with respect to your client?
Your Honor, I believe that was accurate, the history that she stated, but I don't hear allegations that Mr. Reeman is a part of this. These are failures that somebody in this program has. As a result, they put her in a program. She's working on her addictions. She really has no family support. He is probably her biggest support. The allegations, I don't think, imply that he's facilitating any of that. These are issues she's dealing with. They're particular to her, and she's in a program now addressing them.
And that actually was not, go ahead.
Actually, she does have a cousin, and reportedly, she was living with her father. So she does have family support.
Her father is in the area?
Yes, reportedly, that's where she was living.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Mr. Woolak, if you want to take an opportunity to speak with your client. At this point, we don't have the coordinator of the program on the call. So I don't know if there are any sanctions for her with respect to her not complying. I take it based on what you've indicated that she has no intention of complying with respect to seeing Mr. Reeman.
I don't know that I would say that, Judge. I think she has the intention to follow court orders, but she's a young lady. This is her boyfriend, and it just seems like we're setting her up to fail. This isn't just an acquaintance that she used to party with. I could see that.
I understand what you're saying, and that actually was my question, Ms. Jones. I understood everything that you listed, but I didn't understand where the connection was between Mr. Reeman and her infraction.
The connection is they were both in drug court together. They connected while they both have been in drug court, where at that time she violated the rules when she was in a former residential treatment. And because she disappeared without the monitor's knowledge and reported it back to the facility, they gave her an additional 30 days, which she promptly went back to the facility and walked out the door. And she was gone for quite some time. It was at that time that the warrant was issued, and the judge had stated before that she was concerned that they would bring one another down. After that point, she did test positive for drugs, and we didn't see her for at least a year.
Okay.
We do know that she had contact with him, that even though he's not the issue at this point, that she did travel with him to Florida for the disposition of his son's ashes. So at that point, she violated her probation by leaving the state without permission of the court, as well as he did, which he is not at issue at this point. And that information was brought to the court by the person that's handling her child custody situation.
All right, so what's your recommendation? You don't have the facility on the line, so at this point, what is the recommendation?
I would have her remain at the facility and see what they're going to do so far as her misconduct in regards to her not telling the truth to the facility. Because with her not being truthful, this is actually hindering her progress in her treatment.
Okay, so do you want to come back when we have our next date on the 15th?
That would be excellent. I'm not sure whether, right now she's due to complete in May. It may be that rather than her being there 120 days, they might want to extend it for 30 days.
All right, well, we won't know that until we get them on the line.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I would like to add, since there is a no contact order in place for her not to contact Mr. Ryman while she's in treatment, I think that order should be, adhered to. So I think that she should be restricted from contacting him, and it should be, she should be warned for such. And when she's out of treatment, that's a different story. Of course, we can't control that, but until that point, at least I think while she's in treatment, so that she'll have the time to be able to gather her own thoughts and be able to, so it's my recommendation that as a sanction, she during the period of time that she's in treatment right now, she adhere to the order of not having contact with Mr. Ryman until further order of the court.
Now, it has been brought to our attention that he has her debit card and he is the one that's bringing her money and cigarettes up to the facility. There's going to be, Ms. Khalil said she was going to make a call to her family to request him to return that property to her or either to a family member so that there is no reason for him to contact her.
All right, well, the facility can do that. I mean, you know, that's not anything I can do, but the facility can do that. And I can continue the order. I'm not gonna modify it at this point, but I do want to come back in 2 weeks when the facility is available. We need to make sure that they're on the next call on the 15th,
Yes, ma'am.
so we can see what it is they want to do, because clearly this is a little bit of different time. It's COVID. And, you know, I don't really, I'm not looking to try to put individuals in jail during a pandemic. or
Your Honor,
violating court.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go
Can
ahead.
can we address that no contact again on the 15th?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's what we'll do. We'll be back on the 15th. And,
Okay.
just make sure we have the facility on at that time so they could give us what information they have. But I would also, I'm sure you're gonna talk to the facility, and it looks like they're planning on indicating that he's not able to come up there, and I'm sure they can make that decision.
Sure.
They're not under my control, but they can make that decision. And then, we'll see where we are on the 15th.
Sounds good.
But you do understand, Miss Kenny, that at this point in time, there is a court order that you are not supposed to have contact with Mr. Reeman.
Yes.
Technically, I can find you in contempt of that order and I could put you in jail, but I'm not trying to do that. So I'm asking you at this point to follow that court order till we're back here in 2 weeks. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All righty. Let's go to, is Rita Jones on here?
No.
Let's go to,
Yeah.
I mean, not Rita Jones, Tina Young. Well, we've got both Tina Young and Michael David, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Your Honor,
Yes,
is it possible for us to do Michael David next? He's at work.
yes, that's fine.
Thank you.
Calling case number 18-1576, People of the State of Michigan versus Michael David. Attorneys appearances, please.
Phyllis Gayton Robinson, P 71733 on behalf of Mr. David. Mr.
Rita
David,
Jones.
state your name for the record.
Michael James David.
Afternoon, Mr. David.
Good
And
afternoon.
Ms. Jones.
Rita Jones, case manager for Third Circuit Adult Drug Court. Mr. David is doing very well in his outpatient treatment. He has opted to continue his treatment once he has completed probation. At this point, we have voiced some concerns with Mr. David regarding his JAMS testing. I went over the report with him today to make sure that I was seeing what I thought I saw, that he has not tested at JAMS for January 3rd, 9th, 16th, 24, January 31st, February 6th, February 14th, and February 21st. He was advised that he needs to be at least 120 days clean to the program. He said he understood. He said that he had been going. And I advised him that it would be a good idea to go on Saturday, not call, just go every single Saturday in case there was a problem on Saturday with work, that he go on Sunday and ask for a receipt to verify that he actually did. He did not give me any flack or objection to the extension, but I understand that he had contact with Attorney Gayton Robinson after our call.
It's also my understanding, her, Ms. Bradley, that she spoke with Mr. David on January 6, 2021, and informed Mr. David that, he was supposed to comply with testing.
Your
And,
Honor, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I apologize.
and just briefly, is that a correct recitation of what happened, Ms. Brad?
Yes, Your Honor. On the 6th, I had contacted Mr. David. When I called, he didn't answer the phone. I received a phone call back from his mom, who said she was very concerned about him because she couldn't reach him all day long, and she was concerned about him. And I asked her at that time, did she know what the issue was? She didn't know, but she was very concerned about him. She called me back when he didn't return my call. And so when he finally did return my call, I questioned him about his testing, because when his mom, she was concerned about him, it prompted the idea that he may be using it in my mind. So I made sure that when I did talk to him, I talked to him about his testing he missed in December up until January the 3rd. And I have noted here that he told me he was going to test that Saturday, which would have been the 9th. I have here his mom was supposed to pick him up. So he was supposed to start testing on the 9th.
Of January.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Gaten Robinson.
Your Honor, after having the conversation with Mr. David does acknowledge having had that conversation with Ms. Bradley, but he also indicates that he let Ms. Bradley know and Ms. Jones both know that his PIN number for JAMS has been expired and not valid for months, specifically since September. That's what he told me. That's what he's indicated to me. He says he's had that conversation with them. Now, I don't know if that's ever been addressed. That's his position. They can speak to whether or not they recall that conversation or have noted that conversation. But is that what you indicated to me, Mr. David?
Yes, it is. It was right after I got a treatment. It was like last week of August, first week of September. I can't remember the exact date. And then they sent me an email again. It came from Ms. Jones, and the PIN number was still invalid. And I reach out to both of them and let them know.
And that was in September?
Yes.
JAMS has been instructed that they don't need to have their PIN, that they and the participants have been instructed to go and drug test on the weekend, that they do not rely on calling in for their PIN or the ID. They are simply to go and drug test. And it appears from our records from JAMS that has not occurred.
All right, so Mr. David indicated that he sent an email saying that his PIN was invalid. And when he sent that email, did you respond back to him and let him know that his PIN wasn't necessary?
All the participants were told that JAMS is not requiring their PIN, that they are simply to go and drug test every weekend.
Can I say something?
David,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I haven't been ever personally instructed, though, honestly, since 3 months after I got put on a drug court. Because every other time, I've just gotten handed paperwork while I've been in treatment, or I've never even gotten new paperwork. To be honest, the last person that instructed me was the other case manager. I think her name was like Miss Ryan Leslie. That's the last person that's honestly instructed me on anything about JAMS.
Actually, I do believe in his court, in our case file, and that's been some time ago, that when we gave the participants their JAMS information, I'll have to double check, but we had them sign that paperwork acknowledging that they got the information and what their instructions were supposed to be. But since COVID, we have instructed them, you do not rely on calling in for them to say drug test or not, that you need to go every weekend and drug test.
I have the email instructions sent to me, and there's nothing mentioned in the email. I was in treatment from March until the beginning of September, end of August. And I have an email on September 8th with the instructions for JAMS. And there's nowhere mentioned in that.
I was on a different screen trying to come off. But Mr. David, when I talked to you in January, you didn't mention anything to me about not having any information for jams. You just said you were going to report and your mom was
I
going
went to I was checking. I've been going. I was checking it online and stuff, but I'm just saying my pin's been invalid and stuff. And I actually have been going. I don't know why there's no record of it.
Are you saying you've been going and been testing?
Yes, that's what I said on the phone to Miss Jones this morning.
Mr.
still
David,
think-
can you provide the facility you've been going to?
Taylor?
Do you always go to the Taylor facility?
Yeah, I've never been any other ones.
Okay.
before. I know I've had other problems there too with them having me try to sign the wrong people's paperwork before, and I've caught that I think at least 2 or 3 times now.
Your Honor, we'll
Yeah.
follow up with, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Go
I was
ahead.
going to ask him if he had receipts indicating that he'd been there or anything, any kind of paperwork.
Unfortunately, I don't.
Your Honor, we can follow up with the Taylor facility to get any information regarding him reporting or not.
Okay. All right. All right. So at this point then, Ms. Gayden Robinson, I take it, does not want her client to be extended for another 120 days. And I understand Ms. Jones' position is that the program requires that you stay clean for 120 days. And they don't have that if they don't have testing. But if we follow up and find out he has been testing, then that changes everything. So it looks like we're gonna have to come back after Ms. Green follows up. Do you know how long it'll take to find out?
Your Honor, I'll call today or email the director and ask her to pull any information she can on Mr. David.
Okay,
Your Honor,
All
may I
right.
say something to Mr. David on the record?
sure.
Mr. David,
Yes.
from this day forward, when you go to jams, you need to get a paper receipt and keep up with it.
Okay.
Test every weekend. Are we
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll see Mr. David back on March the 15th as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Ms.
Thank you.
Davis, Ms. Johnson, I will be following up to make sure you have your information, but even without your information, you're still to report.
Yeah, I have been. So okay.
Okay, well, if he says he has been, we'll find out shortly. Okay. Last person. Yeah.
Calling case number 17-6118, people of the state of Michigan versus Tina Young. Attorney appearances, please.
Rita Jones, Case Manager for Third Circuit Adult Drug Court.
Phyllis Gayton Robinson on behalf of Ms. Young.
Okay, Ms. Jones?
Yes, Ms. Young is back at the facility that she was at before for recovery housing. She did give me an update that she was able to get back at the original Wendy's, which is not very far from the facility. She still will be in the closing shift, but she does have a mutual client at that facility that they work the same hours, so that that won't be a problem. She's working today, she's working 2 days a week. She's still going to her sessions, her outpatient sessions, and doing very well. We did address the fact that her jams February 21st was adulterated. She said that she doesn't know how that happened, but that is an issue. She is due to get her ID, but of course, with the Secretary of State's situation with COVID, she does not have an appointment until May and June.
Okay. Who's representing Ms. Young?
I represent Ms. Young, Your Honor.
Okay. What do you
But
wanna
this
say,
is
Ms.
this is just an update. We don't have any negative responses for Ms. Young.
Okay. How long has Ms. Young been in the program?
She has been in the program
Since May.
Since May of last year?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the program is working well for you, Ms. Young?
Yes, ma'am. And I drop here twice a week, the day before I go to jams and the day after. And I have not dropped dirty since July. I relapsed on alcohol. But and before that, I haven't dropped dirty for drugs in 15 months. I've been doing really well, and I drink a lot of water, so when I get to jams, I could drop, because if you can't go, they make you wait a half hour outside. And when I went yesterday, the lady told me that dropped me, that I need to drink less water because that's what's doing it.
And that is true, Your Honor. Before they go testing, they shouldn't drink high volumes of fluids,
Right.
water in
Okay,
particular.
because then the result could be diluted.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, absolutely.
Your Honor,
So water's very good for you.
I know, and I don't drink pop or nothing, so my urine is pretty clear. But
Right.
yeah, I like I said, I dropped the day before here and the day after. I dropped twice a week here, and I've been clean since July. I dropped dirty for alcohol once, no drugs since November of last year, 2019. It's been 15 months.
And Your Honor, we can always request the reports from the facility she's at regarding how she's testing there. So they should be supplying that in her reports anyway, to some degree, her compliance.
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Young, are you waiting on housing? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have any idea how long the housing is gonna take?
Well, when you don't have children, you're like at the bottom of the list, but I am on the list for housing, so all I can do is wait and be patient.
Okay.
And also DRP, I go there, I'm going 3 times a week instead of 2, so I can make up for the time that I was just in treatment for 28 days. And they're trying to help me with a voucher to help me pay rent too. They got a 2-year voucher, but it's just hard to find somebody that'll accept it. It's just like a third party voucher. So I'm in the progress of getting help from them also for housing.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you're doing well, Ms. Young.
Yes, I'm trying.
I congratulate.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially during this time of COVID, you're doing better than a lot of people.
It took me a long time, but I think I'm finally getting it.
Good.
She's doing very well. We did extend her probation to allow her to complete her outpatient treatment. So she is aware of that, and she's doing very well.
It's going to what date now?
It's to July 22nd of this year. And she, if I didn't mention it, she did get her old job back.
Yes, you did mention that. Is this the Wendy's that closes at 10 now, Ms. Young?
No, they close at 2. Well, on the weekend, they close at 2. During the week, it's 1. But me and my friend split a lift, so, and we're not far from the building where I live is not far from the job. So we split a lift to get there. One pays to get there, one pays to get back. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, I guess that's it for Ms. Young.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Can't believe she's extending me till August. I mean.
Oh, do I need to give a new date for Ms. Young?
Yes. We're going to double check. I would like her to come back on the 15th in 2 weeks.
She's already logged off, Your Honor.
I think she logged off.
I'll give her,
You can give her a call.
yes, I will.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Your Honor.
All right, have a great one.
Have a good
You
day,
too.
everyone. Thank you, everyone.
bye, everyone.
Good job, Judge Baker.
Yeah.
Thank you.